Katrina here, and today I'm going to tell you all about how to find gradients of scalar functions. So to start off with today, we need to look at a multivariable function. So now our scalar function is some f of x1, x2, x3, all the way to some xn. So this is a function of n independent variables. So in our single value variable calculus, we only had one variable. We simply just had f of x. However, for multivariable calculus, we have multiple independent variables. So in this generic case that I showed you over here, we have some arbitrary number, n independent variables, where n is a natural number. So this leads us into our discussion of gradients. In my previous videos, I showed you various tips and tricks how to find the derivative of a single valued function. So how can we find the derivative of multivariable functions? So that's where gradient comes into play. So at the most basic level, the derivative of a function with multiple variables is called a gradient. So that's the most basic definition of gradient that we can have. So let's start with that and build upon that. So let's now look at the mathematical definition for gradient. So the notation is as follows. So we have this upside down triangle, and this represents gradient. So the gradient of f is actually the collection of all the partial derivatives, and it's collected in this vector known as the gradient. So say we have our function up here. So we have our function with n independent variables. Then our gradient is as follows. So we have the partial derivative of f with respect to x1, partial derivative of f with respect to x2. Then we'll keep going. We have the partial derivative of f with respect to x3, all the way to the partial derivative of f with respect to xn. You can also consult my previous videos where I showed you specifically how to solve for partial derivatives. Okay, so this is our fancy notation for gradient. The other way how you can see it sometimes is it could be written as grad f instead of the triangle. Both notations mean the same thing. So again, we have this collection of partial derivatives with respect to each value in our multivariable function. So now let's understand a little bit deeper what this means. So each component of the gradient, so if we're looking at each partial derivative, this corresponds to the rate of change of the function with respect to that variable. So again, that's the rate of change with respect to that specific variable. And when we take the rate of change with respect to that variable, all the other variables are held constant. Okay? So we can now specifically see how does our function vary with respect to x1. And then we can move on. We can look at x2. Then we can see what is the rate of the change of our function with respect to x2, then while keeping everything else constant. So that's the theory behind what we're doing. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that a gradient is a vector field. So this is this new concept of vector calculus, which we'll get into deeper. So essentially, this gradient is this vector field where each point in the space has its own corresponding gradient vector. So instead of dealing in just 2 dimensions, we've now expanded our understanding of calculus and vectors into the nth dimension. So instead of just having one line as a slope of the tangent at that point, we now have this whole vector field. And if we want to find the vector at a specific point, then we'll end up with a gradient vector at that point in the field. So now we have to kind of open our minds and take ourselves into the next dimension. Okay, so now let's look at some of the key properties of our gradients. So the first thing is we want to look at the direction. So we already know that a vector equals magnitude plus direction. That is its very fundamental definition. So since a gradient is a collection of partial derivatives within a vector, it still has that same properties that all vectors have to possess. So we might ask ourselves, well then what does the direction represent for a gradient? Well, the direction of a gradient points in the direction of the steepest increase of the function. So it's the line of steepest ascent, okay? So we're looking for that maximum ascent, the steepest increase of our function, and that is the direction that our gradient points in. So now let's figure out, well then what is the magnitude? Well, the magnitude, it tells us the rate at which the function increases in the direction of the gradient. So again, the magnitude doesn't tell us the direction, it tells us how much, what is the rate that the function is increasing in the direction specified by the gradient. So that's good to understand that combination between direction and magnitude and how that applies to gradients. So this allows us to augment our knowledge from vectors into now this vector field where gradients exist. Okay, that was a lot of chatting. So why don't we dive into an example so we can see how to find a gradient. So first of all, let's look at some multivariable function f of xy. So here we can also think of this as f of x1, f of x2 with respect to our notation from earlier. But for today, we're just going to use x and y. So this is a multivariable function that has two independent variables. So our function here is x squared multiplied by y plus 3xy cubed. So let's go through the steps of finding this gradient all together. So step one is let's look at the definition of the gradient. Let's rewrite that so we have that as a reference point. So again, we're going to use the upside down triangle notation. So this is gradient of f equals to the partial derivative of f with respect to x, and then the partial derivative of f with respect to y. So again, this is a collection of partial derivatives. Okay, we got our step one. Step two, we want to compute our partial derivatives. So we're going to start off with computing the partial derivative of f with respect to x. So let's do that right over here. Let's change our color up. So we've got purple. Okay, so we're looking for df of dx. So recall our discussion from partial derivatives. That means we are going to treat y as a constant and simply just differentiate with respect to x. So that is going to equal to 2xy plus 3y cubed. If we go back and look at our initial function over here, we see that we're using power law. So we're taking our 2 down, and then y is a constant, so it's still being multiplied. And then same over here. We're treating x as the variable which we're differentiating with respect to. So then y is constant, which gives us 3y cubed. Let's repeat the same process now to find the partial derivative with respect to y. So this will equal to x squared plus 9xy squared. And again, we use the power law over here of derivatives in order to find our partial derivative with respect to y. So now that we have our two partial derivatives, the third step is a very easy one. All we have to do now is we have to take what we found and then we have to just put it into a vector to get our gradient. So we're collecting our partial derivatives. So that means that the gradient of f equals to 2xy plus 3y cubed, which represents our partial derivative with respect to x. And then we have our partial derivative with respect to y. So we have x squared plus 9xy squared. Amazing. And that is it. We've calculated the gradient of f. You can see that we took this complicated math process and made it fast and easy to solve by breaking it down into smaller components. So now we're going to do one extension, just so you can see what else we can do with our gradients. So what we calculated here, this is the gradient of f. So this is the generic formula that represents the gradient of our function. However, what if we want to find the gradient at a specific point? So I'm going to show you now how do we find the gradient of f at point 1, 2. We want to narrow down our field to that one point to get that one gradient vector. Okay, all we have to do is simply plug in our values, 1 and 2, into our gradient. So that means that we are going to get, we'll just plug this in. So then we have 2 times 1 times 2 plus 3 times 2 cubed. And then for our y here, we have 1 squared plus 9 times 1 times 2. Okay, so if we do the math here, we get 4 plus 8 times 3, which is 24. And then we have 1 plus, this is 2 squared over here. So then we have 1 plus 9 times 1 times 4, which is 36. Therefore, our final answer is 28 and 37. So this gives us the gradient at the specific point. So remember that the gradient is a whole vector field, right? And then now that we're looking at a specific point, that means that we found the gradient vector at that point. So again, that is the corresponding gradient vector right over here. This part here is the corresponding gradient vector to our gradient field at our point 1 and 2. Okay, so we did a lot today, but I hope you're able to take home how to find a gradient, what is a gradient, and then how to calculate a gradient at a specific point. So we've really dove deep into multivariable calculus as well as vector calculus. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe for more fun and easy to follow math videos. And please comment any questions that you have below. I'll get to it as soon as possible and return an answer to you. I'll see you next time.